At what point in your marriage did you realize your wife loved someone else more than you? My wife, Em, met her best friend, Chuck, in high school. They became close friends, and Chuck came out as gay, and she was supportive. A year or so later, Chuck came out to his parents. They disowned and kicked him out, and Chuck ended up living with Em and her parents for the rest of high school. Em and I started dating after college. Em told me all about Chuck. She talked about how close they were, and how he was like a brother to her. I met Chuck. We got along and became friends. Chuck is a good guy at the time. He was dating a guy and they ended up moving in together about the same time Em and I got engaged. Em and I have been married for 5 years now. I'm a project manager and I took on a year-long project in another city. I have to leave at 5:30 a.m. every morning and get home around 6:30 p.m. Em and I had a long talk about my job before I took on this project. We knew it would be a sacrifice for me to be working so much, but I'm getting more money than I ever thought I would. After this project, we can pay off our student debt and start trying to have a baby. We both agreed the money was worth it. Since it's only a year and that year will be up in late November, in March, Chuck caught his boyfriend cheating. He was devastated, and Em immediately told him he could move in with us. I was fine with him moving in, but wasn't happy that I didn't even discuss it with me first. Chuck was pretty broken up, and Em was giving him lots of love and attention. I was fine with it because I know how much she loves Chuck, and he needed her in those moments. I also did my best to support him and make him feel loved. For a while this was fine, but as time went on and continued to pour all of our attention into Chuck, sometimes I'd get home from work and neither of them were there. I'd find out they went to a movie or went out to get dinner together. I don't think there was anything romantic between them, but it has been annoying that I get left out of all the plans in the past few weeks. Several things have happened. The three of us went to a party and someone joked about Chuck being our third wheel. Em said, "Chuck is not the third wheel." I said, "What?" And she said, "I've known Chuck longer than I've known you." A week or so after that, Em and Chuck went out dancing. I had to work the next day, so I stayed home. I woke up at about 3 a.m., and Em was not in bed. I found her and Chuck cuddling on the couch asleep with the TV on. Both of those things made me uncomfortable. I also realized I had been working so much I was letting Em and Chuck plan everything, and I had not planned a date night in a while. I decided I needed to be more active in our relationship, so I planned a date night for the both of us. When I first told him, she was excited as we had not been on a date in a long time. On Friday, our date night, I got home at 6:30 p.m., and Em and Chuck were not there. I took a shower and got ready about 7:15 p.m. I finally called out as we had reservations at 8 p.m. She answered, and when I asked where she was, she said she and Chuck had gone shopping and were getting some dinner. I was stunned and asked about our date. She laughed and said, "I forgot." Oh well, and that was that she didn't even invite me to join them. I want to point out that my dad was very controlling of my mom and had an anger problem where he would yell and throw things. He never hurt us, but it was still scary as a kid. I have worked very hard not to be like him. I've tried never to be controlling of Em or tell her what to do. I also tend to shut down when I get angry, but when Em forgot our date, I was mad. I didn't say anything right then, but I knew I needed to address how I was feeling. So later that evening, I told her we needed to talk. I had written down some things so I could stay focused. I started by saying that I loved Chuck and he was always welcome in our home, but that I felt like our marriage was suffering. We needed to work on us. Em blew up. She thought I was attacking Chuck and she started defending him while attacking me. We have never had a big fight before. We always talked and worked things out. I was stunned that she was attacking me. She said some awful things. Then she said, "Chuck is my soulmate, and you just have to get used to that." I just shut down. I didn't even know how to process that. I love Em more than anything in the world, but at that moment, I realized she loves Chuck more than she loves me. I thought Em and I were soulmates, but to hear her say she considers someone else her soulmate had been devastating. I don't remember the rest of the talk. She huffed off after a while and slept on the couch. She and Chuck left together that Saturday and they were gone most of the day. When they got back, she acted like nothing had happened. On Sunday, she even made a small joke and batted her eyes at me, which she does when flirting with me. I usually love it, but this time it just made me sick. I told her this was a busy week at work and I would stay at a hotel near the job site. I last saw her Sunday night. I don't know what to do. How do I move forward knowing she will never love me as much as I love her? Seeing many comments from women who say they have more than one soulmate has given me hope. I believe you only have one soulmate, but that's not a word Am or I ever use. and I just hope she means it differently than how I took it. We've been texting back and forth this week and spoke on the phone last night. It wasn't anything significant. She just called and said she missed me and couldn't wait until I got home. I told her we should talk about our fight last Friday. She agreed and said she hated that we fought and we needed to work it out. She said she loves me. We will be talking tonight, and I guess I'll find out where I stand, and texted me this Friday and said Chuck was gone for the weekend. She suggested that we spend time, just the two of us. She wanted to make up for our missed date. I got home Friday evening. We agreed to talk before doing anything else. I had written everything I wanted to say. She sat and listened. We talked for a long time, and we each went back to some things to get clarification. I told her that I didn't like her joke about me being the third wheel and how much it hurt me that she forgot our date. I also said how crushed I was that she said Chuck was her soulmate. There were some other little things too. When I was done, she said she was sorry and that she was wrong for saying those things. She said, I am not the third wheel and I am her soulmate. She asked if she could explain her side of the story. I am sure that when Chuck's parents first kicked him out in high school, he was in a bad place. He also considered taking his own life. He told Em's mom and they got him the help he needed. So when Chuck called in March about his boyfriend cheating on him and freaked out and was afraid he would delete himself, she said she needed him close so she could watch him and keep him safe. I commented about how, for the past 6 months, it seemed like she and Chuck were living their best life together. She said that in reality she was miserable and was on the verge of a nervous breakdown, and said that she knew she was wrong after our fight and realized she needed to let it go. She spoke to Chuck, and he promised that he was a stronger person than he was in high school. He said that he was not even thinking about deleting himself anymore. They agreed it was best if he moved out to give Em and me the time we needed to work on us, and wanted to talk to me last Sunday. But I said I needed time and she wanted to give me space. It was a long talk with lots of tears. She apologized a bunch of times. She said she was so concerned with Chuck's mental health that she thought it would make him move out. So she lashed out. She acknowledged that she loved me, said she wants to work on herself to find healthy ways to deal with fear and worry. We have never really had a big fight before. We both agreed we could have handled it better her by not lashing out at me, by not shutting down. We agreed to start couples counseling to help us learn how to disagree in a healthy way. We were both emotionally drained after the talk, so we ordered some food and stayed in. We cuddled in bed and watched television. We've missed each other a lot these past few months, and it was really nice to just hold her. The next day we went to get breakfast, went shopping, saw a movie, and even got pedicures together. Several times throughout the day, she'd stop and look at me. She'd say how she missed me and she was so sorry that she had pushed me away. On Sunday, we called Chuck, who was staying with another friend. He said he was sorry he caused so much stress on us. He acknowledged that he was so focused on himself that he didn't realize we were not doing well. He said he loved us both and he was so grateful that we let him stay while he was getting over his breakup. He is looking at a few places and plans to be out in the next week or two. He did offer to move out right away, but I am fine with him staying a little longer. Our relationship took a hit, but we love each other and we are going to make it work. We set some boundaries and we also agreed to always make each other our top priority.